All right, YouTube, all right, world, here we go. It is April 21st, 2013, and in this video, I am going to prove that the Boston Marathon bombing was, in fact, indeed, an inside job. We're going to retrace the events surrounding the Boston Marathon bombing. And in this video, I want to draw your attention first. I'm going to try to do this quickly. I want to take you to an article that came out February of this year, 2013. Very important. I want you to look at the name, Operation Thunderdome. I want that to stick. I want you to remember that. Here's the headline of this article. Department of Homeland Security, Operation Thunderdome. Is this free America's last stand? Indeed, I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is free America's very last stand. The people of America need to wake up now. The sleeping masses need to wake up. Look at the photograph, and this again came out in February. You've got police officers dressed in full riot SWAT tactical gear, and behind them an armored vehicle. Where have we seen this recently? We've seen this on the streets of the United States of America in the state of Massachusetts, Boston, when they were under lockdown during the investigation of the Boston Marathon bombing and the manhunt looking for the alleged accomplice, the 19-year-old brother, the suspect that was at large. They declared a lockdown, which in reality, don't fool yourself, it was full-blown martial law. We've seen martial law on the streets of the United States of America back during the time of Hurricane Sandy. And who can forget Hurricane Katrina, when they went in full military attire, with their guns drawn to private citizens' homes, door to door during Katrina, with their guns drawn, just like they did in Boston, to confiscate guns from the American people. Everywhere you look on the internet today, mainstream media news, every mainstream media article, news article that comes out, every other story is about someone that committed a crime with a gun or an assault rifle, and Obama trying to get the laws through to disarm the American people and to do away with the Constitution and your Second Amendment rights. What this article is basically explaining is showing how they are preparing the citizens of the United States of America for a full takeover, full-blown martial law. Let me just skim through this real quick, and I think you'll find this interesting. Have you ever asked yourself yet why the Department of Homeland Security is purchasing millions of rounds of ammunition, some of which is deemed illegal for use by the Geneva Convention, ammunition that not even our military is allowed to use? The Department of Homeland Security now currently has enough ammunition to shoot and kill every man, woman, and child 4 to 5 times over. Do you find this disturbing? I find this very disturbing. Now let's get into the Boston Marathon bombing and it being an inside job. The buzz all over the internet today is this video that came out by YouTuber Dabu7 that clearly shows the involvement of Kraft Blackwater, the agents, and you can see the backpack here by one of the members of this Kraft team with the white square on the backpack. And in this video it shows that same backpack that after the bomb had been detonated, we've got the 19-year-old suspect rather, after the bombings took place, after both explosions had went off. It shows him walking with his backpack still on, and here you can see them running from the scene. But there are more players involved in this. Yes, indeed, I believe Kraft was there. They did this, but they didn't do it alone. There's more players involved. Let's not forget the Saudi national, who was the person of interest. He was there at the Boston Marathon at the time of the explosions, the time the two bombs went off, and he was taken into custody. But first he was taken to the hospital because he had burns on his hands and his extremities that are consistent with someone lighting a fuse to detonate an explosive device. He's a Saudi national, and he's #1 prime suspect, and they take him in for questioning, but they take him to the hospital. He's being treated for burns on his hands. Then they decide, now coming up Tuesday, that they are going to deport him and get him out of the country and send him back to Saudi Arabia. One thing, I'm going to put the link to this video below. You need to watch the last portion of this video, and it explains how they are getting him out of the country. And during a crisis, a terrorist attack, and an investigation in the United States of America, doesn't matter who you are, no one gets deported, but they're getting the Saudi national out of the country. And at the same time this is going on, the very same time that this is going on, he's got burns on his hands, he's in the hospital, he's the person of interest. Barack H. Obama has a clear schedule, a clear calendar, nothing on his calendar. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this comes from Reuters, Obama meets with Saudi foreign minister. U.S. President Barack Obama met with Saudi foreign minister at the White House on Wednesday. This came out April 17th, when they decided they're going to deport the person of interest. With burns on his hands, Obama calls a special meeting with the Saudi foreign minister, the prince. Now, while the meeting's taking place, they're getting ready now Tuesday to deport him back to Saudi Arabia, which is unheard of during a terrorist investigation on attack on the United States. Who visits the Saudi national in the hospital? Who goes to his hospital room, his bedside? None other than Michelle Obama. Saudi report. Michelle Obama visits person of interest. She's in the hospital now visiting the Saudi national while her husband is having a sudden meeting with this Saudi prince. Now, Michelle Obama is in the hospital room of the Saudi national that was at the scene at the Boston Marathon when the bombs went off, and he's being treated for burns consistent with a detonating an explosive device. And this is that same video here. I'm going to put the link to this below. There's more players involved, and here's the Saudi national that all of a sudden is getting deported and out of the country. I truly believe it's an inside job. The two brothers, the one deceased, the one now in custody, all of a sudden now he can't speak. I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised, but they even took him alive, but of course now he can't talk. And we heard the family members when they came out. Remember the aunt saying this is a setup. This is a setup. They have been set up. And the way the events unfolded with the gunfire and the shootout, and after the bombing, rather than go in hiding, especially the 19-year-old suspect that was found allegedly in the boat, that was riddled with bullets, and then all of a sudden we see photographs now emerging of him coming out of the boat, and there's other photographs showing that he looks physically okay, and all of a sudden now he's incapacitated, he's in critical condition, and he can't speak. Nothing's adding up. I think they were used, they were patsies in this whole thing. We can't forget the explosion, and this is tied in at the Fort Texas fertilizer plant. And they were in the process of suing Monsanto. This is all tied in together. We've all seen the video of the explosion at the Texas fertilizer plant where we could see the flames. But to the left of the screen of the videos, if you remember, there is an object coming in and then causes a massive explosion. Was it a missile? Was it a U.S. drone? All these events are all connected. This was definitely definitely an inside job. There is no doubt about it. Now, what I want to remind everyone is, and I don't know if you are aware of this, but at the time, we got all our attention on the manhunt for the 19-year-old subject. What does Barack Obama do while we're all watching the news and we're waiting for the breaking special reports as they find him in this boat? And none of that adds up about taking a hostage. The day after the bombing, the 19-year-old goes back to school. We hear from the friends and that were close to him that he excelled in sports. He was an athlete. He was on the wrestling team. He was fun to be around. He never, ever said anything bad about this country. I don't believe they were involved. Then all of a sudden, the FBI releases their photos and they're plastered all over the internet. Then all of a sudden, they're prime subjects, number one on this manhunt. Then they take a hostage. They hijack a car and take a hostage, and then tell the person that they hijacked that, hey, we're the ones that did the bombing at the Boston Marathon that injured all these people. We even killed an 8-year-old boy. Then they let him live and let him out. Go to a marathon, rob a 7-Eleven, get in a high-speed chase, have a shootout. Then the older brother is killed. The 19-year-old runs over the body of his own brother, and they find him in a boat. First there's gunfire, and it's just him shooting. Then it's the police are exchanging fire. Then all of a sudden the story changes again, and they send a robot in with a robotic arm to tear back the tarp to expose the 19-year-old alleged accomplice, so they could hurl in stun grenades. And we see photos of him physically coming out of the boat, and he doesn't look in too bad a shape. And all of a sudden, he's totally in critical condition. None of this is adding up. And all while we're watching this unfold, Barack Obama does something pretty slick. He rushes through Congress House Resolution Bill 624, which is CISPA, Cyber Intelligence Protection Act, and gets that pushed through to where now they can spy on you on the internet and social media sites to see if are you pro-gun, or are you a Christian, and how do you feel about this country. This is the total inside job. It was done deliberately, and there are more players involved. We've got to look back at the Saudi National. We've got Kraft, Blackwater agents. They did it, and they had help. And I believe the Saudi National helped, and I believe the two brothers were just patsies. More to come. Leave me comments.